In Hollywood, there was a brief period where the Hays Code was established. This was a code to prevent certain explicit material from being shown in Hollywood movies. This was a response to many popular films already considered controversial. But how do these films hold up today? Join Facts First to learn about the pre-code Hollywood movies that are still considered naughty today. Babyface. One of the most controversial films from the new Hollywood genre was Hardcore, written and directed by Paul Schrader. In this film, a father tries to save his daughter who has been embroiled in the pornographic industry. However, even this film couldn't match up to the naughtiness of the 1933 Hollywood hit Babyface. The film follows a girl who prostitutes herself and has been doing so since she was a teen because of her father. Barbara Stanwyck plays Lily Powers, who has been a prostitute due to her father, Nick Powers, played by Robert Barrett, who exploited her beauty. The storyline, as one can expect, was harrowing for the time and certainly wouldn't be allowed during the Hays Code era, which wanted to protect audiences from seeing the darker truths of society. Before we tell you more about these pre-code Hollywood movies still considered naughty today, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First for more. The Divorcee. We've gotten used to seeing divorce in American films and in society, but the 1930 film The Divorcee showed us a part of life audiences found taboo at the time. The film showed a man marrying a woman solely out of pity, as he caused a car accident which caused her face to become disfigured. Years later, she finds him having an affair with another woman. As one would expect, though divorce might no longer be taboo, such a plotline would still be considered naughty today. The film follows the couple after the divorce to explore how this incident affects the lives of the people involved. It stars Norma Shearer and Chester Morris. It was based on a novel called The Ex-Wife by Ursula Parrott, which was a bestseller at the time, but stirred up controversy, as did many of her writings. Norma Shearer won an Academy Award for her acting in the film. The acting style is rather different from what we're used to today, but it's a great watch if you're curious to see how naughty it was and still is. The Public Enemy. Gangster films have always caused controversy, and the 1931 film The Public Enemy is a great example. This is one of James Cagney's best films, in which he plays a young Irish-American hoodlum who works his way up the ranks of organized crime. The violence and the horrors shown in this film were naturally controversial for the time, but also very appealing. Prohibition ruled over the country, and here was a film that showed criminals selling alcohol and appealing to our vices. The Prohibition laws stripped away Americans' choice to drink. Public Enemy showed how someone can cause evil but can still be sympathetic to audiences because they're fighting an even bigger enemy. Blonde Crazy. If you're a fan of rom-coms, you'll want to watch the 1931 film Blonde Crazy. It stars James Cagney and Joan Blondell and likely has some of the most quotable lines of any romantic comedy film ever. It's salacious, and the humor was considered risque for the time. Some of it still wouldn't hold up in the politically correct world we live in now. It followed a con man and his girlfriend, which was rather naughty for the time. Audiences seldom saw a negative character like a con man as the hero of a film. In most cases, a woman who loved the villain was a supporting character rather than the leading lady. The film challenged audiences and made them love both characters. It's still a great pleasure to watch today. In fact, if you're a fan of con artist films, this is a must-see. Grifting remains a naughty subject in films as it's illegal, immoral, and dishonest, yet something inside us makes us admire the con artists who can trick us. The film was a hit when it was released, and it's now part of the Library of Congress. Millie. This is likely one of the darkest pre-code Hollywood films ever made that would still shock audiences today. It revolves around the title character, played by Helen Twelvetrees. She marries a wealthy New York businessman and has a child with him. A few years into the marriage, she decides to leave him due to his continuous affairs. She tries to find a way to earn money to ensure her daughter continues to live with the same material comforts she had before. Eventually, she and her friends decide to meet other wealthy men and charm them. As one can expect, Millie was a shocking film for audiences to see in 1931. Even today, you can imagine how audiences would feel about the film. Throughout it, we see Millie going from one man to the next to earn money for her daughter. Then, as her daughter grows up, Millie finds out that one of her wealthy clients has taken an interest in her. This naturally upsets her, and she asks the man to stay away from her daughter, but of course he doesn't listen. We'll leave it there, as you should watch this classic pre-code film that'll still cause you to squirm in your seat. Call Her Savage. This 1932 pre-code film would have trouble even today, and it would cause parents to become more protective over their kids. Call Her Savage followed NASA Springer, played by Clara Bow. She's a young Texan who goes through life sleeping around, getting into fights, and using alcohol to quench her thirst. Naturally, we've gotten used to seeing this in cinema today, but it was a shock in 1932. What's even more shocking is there were scenes that featured the actress not wearing a bra under her clothing, and even a brief BDSM scene. It's also one of the first films that depicted homosexuality, as it had a scene in a gay bar. NASA Springer is brought up by decent parents, but eventually gets tired of the conservative Southern lifestyle and begins to rebel. She eventually becomes pregnant and has to find a way to look after the child on her own. This is a dark film that isn't always easy to watch, but you have to give props to the filmmaker for being brave enough to tackle a subject like that in the 1930s. Africa Speaks. The final pre-code movie that would be considered naughty today, actually would be even more naughty today, is a documentary called Africa Speaks. It was written and directed by Walter Futter, and it followed Paul F. Hoffer, a famous photographer traveling throughout Africa. He travels across the Serengeti, Belgian Congo, and Uganda to showcase the wildlife and culture there. There's one controversial scene in the film where a native African fights against a lion. It's been speculated this scene wasn't shot in Africa, but was a staged event at Los Angeles Zoo. While the film does portray an interesting look at the mysterious continent that few Westerners knew about at the time, it does also showcase the less favorable attitudes towards Africa and is widely considered an exploitation film. It's available on DVD, and its print has been replicated many times. It has since been released into the public domain. As early as the 40s, it was parodied by other filmmakers. It's more shocking today as we have more mature attitudes towards learning about other parts of the world. Nevertheless, it was a huge hit in its time and is a documentary worth your time. Now it's time to hear from you. Have you seen any of these pre-code Hollywood movies? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. By the way, if you haven't joined Facts First as a member yet, be sure to look below this video and click the join button. By becoming a paid member of Facts First, you'll get access to exclusive video content that you won't find anywhere else. This includes some of our more mature content that isn't suitable for public audiences, which includes topics like Hollywood actresses who posed for Playboy and some of the steamiest moments in movie history. Plus, you can enjoy these videos completely ad-free. Our biggest fans will notice they also get badges next to their name when they leave comments on our videos. We pay special attention to comments from our members, and so do other viewers. So if you want exclusive content from Facts First or inside access to discussions with other community members, click the join button to get started for just $4.99. There are hours of members-only videos waiting for you, with new videos added every month. And we're actively working on bringing even more features to help fans like you connect with other members and get more of your favorite content. Just click join, and we'll see you inside the membership tab.